What's up, guys? So I wanted to give you guys a quick update on my gaming setup. Most of you have already seen the motion sim, the DBox motion simulator that I have, but I finally went with the triple screens. So just showing you from behind a little bit. These are three 55-inch C1 LG OLED TVs. I'm going to explain to you why I went with this setup, and I'm just showing you how it came out. As you can see, it's pretty ghetto down here, but it works. I used bar stools and some plywood just to sit everything on. I got a little bit of, just a little strip of Velcro on each corner, just to keep the two bezels together, uniform. Because these bezels, as I'm going to show you now, are super thin. You can see how razor thin they are. So, and they, it can wobble, but if you're not touching them, they don't move. And there's not enough vibration from the motion sim to really do anything. These are solid concrete floors, but they're not even. So the plywood I had to sort of makeshift. As you can see, I got a couple of 2x4s there, but over here I have also an additional piece of wood here because this TV was leaning down on this corner. As I said, this floor is not even. So to make it, to even out the panels, as you can see how thin these bezels are, but they line up pretty much perfectly. And behind I have that little strip of Velcro just to keep these corners from opening apart. And that's about as thin a bezel as you're going to get. So, why did I go with three 55-inch OLEDs? Well, first of all, these are the best gaming TVs available for as far as refresh rate and, input lag and all that good stuff. So, on that end, yeah, it's pretty much a no-brainer for me. But the real reason, I think the biggest benefit, let me stand a little further back. Excuse the mess, guys. This isn't the biggest room down here. I'm in my basement. But as you can see, this whole thing now takes up the entire corner. So the biggest reason, let me shut this light off so you guys could get a better look. The best reason to get an OLED, okay, besides the fact that they are the best for gaming, as you could see here from the side screens, there's a bit of reflection, but when you sit in the cockpit, you don't see that. So yeah, I have to fix, I know, I don't have the cameras perfectly aligned, but when you're sitting in the seat, it looks better, I promise. But as you could see that all three screens are pretty uniform when it comes to brightness and color volume. And that's the biggest reason for me to get an OLED. Because OLEDs, the viewing angles from the side, you don't lose brightness, you don't lose color volume. And what happens is if you ever look at a normal like LED TV, when you stand to the side, as you go to an angle, the colors get washed out. The brightness kind of gets dimmer. It's not the same as when you look at a TV straight, right? Because most TVs, that's your line of sight. You're pretty much going to be looking at the TV straight ahead. So you get the full color volume and brightness the way it's supposed to be. But if you're standing to the side, it gets dim, it gets, the colors get washed out and you lose brightness. But that doesn't happen with an OLED. And that's important because when you're using triple screens and you're sitting in the cockpit, your peripheral vision, you don't even have to look to the side, but just you're gonna get this on your peripheral vision. Even though you're looking straight ahead, this is noticeable. And the last thing you want is for this to be dimmer than the middle screen and for it to be, the colors to be washed out compared to the middle. You want it to be all one even image. Hold on. All right. I got cut off there. I had a phone call come in. So anyway, where was I? Yes, you want the image to be as uniform as possible in terms of color and image. And when you're sitting in the cockpit, your side screens you don't want them to be washed out or dim compared to the center, because that will kill the immersion. And you could see how thin these bezels are. They're super thin. And that's another good thing about these OLEDs. The picture goes really close to the edge of the frame of the bezel. So the bezels are thin, and even though they're still there, they're noticeable. It's not as bad as with other TVs. Plus, I am going to get the bezel-free kit. They're not making them right now. I think they're supposed to come back in May or June. But as soon as I can, I will get that, and that'll clear that up. But I'm still working on fixing the camera, and you know, there's a little adjustment that has to be made. When you're sitting in the cockpit, as you could see, yeah, you could see the picture bend. So it's when you're sitting in the cockpit, it looks a lot better. It's not as bad. Like when you stand back, that's when the angle it looks awkward. But you can see there, I'm putting it closer to where I sit, it straightens out. So yeah, so just wanted you guys to see the upgrade, and I only did a few test laps so far. Everything looks and feels good, and after making some more adjustments, I'm sure it's going to be great. And this is about as much immersion as I'm going to get when the motion's in place, and now I got the peripheral vision. I'm really hoping it's going to change everything for me, and the field of view is much better. So yeah, let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you guys around later.
Hey girl, I dig your style.